all we get to do first is just play connect the dots. I'm just going to double click this so we can see it. I'm in an orange mood today. So we're just connecting the dots. Now if I click on handles, just so you can see what our process is, I will zoom, zoom, zoom. Zoom is the Z, by the way. And then I'm going to go Shift C. Shift C is underneath the pen tool. So even if you were just doing shapes, adding anchor point, deleting, and then the anchor point tool, those are going to be things that you're definitely going to want to know. And just so you can see how easy this is, we're just going to drag it out. I'm holding down my mouse, by the way, and everything has already been done. So I just have to be nice and slow. And now if you notice that it's in the wrong direction, I'm still holding onto my mouse. Just pull it in the other direction. Now whenever you see a line that is flat like that, I want you to pull out and then click Shift. Good. Just drag it out. Again, wrong direction. And I'm just lining it up with that handle. Click on the space bar. Space bar, and as we go through this, you're going to notice that I will be teaching you all of these shortcuts. Space bar is the hand tool. So I can move my format. So one of the little tidbits as you are starting, especially as a beginner, that I'm going to recommend is zooming in a crazy amount. Reasons for that is you want to make sure that you can see what you're clicking on. So one of the major frustrations is if you're too zoomed out and the computer doesn't know what you're selecting. So make sure you're definitely zooming in so the computer lets you know. My smart guides are turned on pretty low, and that's just so they don't bounce and hurt our eyeballs. So you're going to notice that you might even be able to see it. I have the faintest gray turned on to my smart guide, so you might have like a hot pink that you can actually see that. All right, so let's just double check to make sure all of our lines are good. I am on the A key, by the way. A. A is our white arrow. All right, let's have some fun over here. So again, let's go back through our process. I'm going to turn off those handles, and we're basically going to crank through this tail. So I've got the pen tool. I do have my rubber band turned on. Let me just show you what that preference is. So if I am just under preferences, if I click on selection and anchor display, at the bottom it says enable rubber band. And I've got pen tool and the curvature tool turned on. So if you like that idea, what it's going to do is that red line. So you're going to notice that it is connecting. What it will also do is, let's just say once we finish, it'll let you know that you're still on the pen tool. So it's going to try and connect. So if I click on P, it's going to pull that away, and then you know that we are resetting. Click on P. Good to go. All right, I say we finish our tail. So let's just turn back on our handles. I am going to zoom in so we can see how easy this is. Now, as we are going through this, little subtle things that I want you to just pay attention to is just how deliberately slow I am going with everything. So do not go crazy fast. And let's just pull that one. I'm looking right there, by the way. So I wait for my smart guide to say anchor, and then I pull it out. Wait for it to say anchor, and I pull it out. Make sure I'm going in the right direction. Hold down Shift. And then I'm just lining it up. So right there, this will be your frustration tip of the day. If you're just going crazy, just notice that it's going to want to do, so the pen can do all sorts of different things. So this white arrow, I can grab the curve and pull, I can grab this anchor and pull, and then I can grab the handle and pull. So if it doesn't know what you're grabbing, the closest thing to it, it's going to assume that you're trying to do something. So just pay attention, Control 0, that when you are doing things, just be very, very slow. So let's do this big swooping one right there. There's one here. I'm going to hold down Shift and go up. I'm looking at this one way over under his fin. Click on A. Now let's just go through the differences on Shift C and A. A, you're going to notice that both of these handles work together. If I am on Shift C, you're going to notice that these handles work independently. So if you were looking for a sharp curve, Shift C is going to be your friend. If you're coming back on itself, that's going to be Shift C. If you're looking for any other type of handle where you want it to be smooth, then I'm going to recommend just doing the white arrow. And the shortcuts you're going to use the most frequently are V, that is your black arrow, and the white arrow, which is A. So otherwise you're going to keep going back and forth, so you don't want to do that. Alright, let's crank this out. I'm going to hide our handles. Again, just connect the dots. Click on P to reset. Notice I don't have any rubber band there. Click on P. And when we add in our brushes, that's going to line up. So notice that my rubber band is still connecting. Click on P. Turn back on our handles. So I'm going Shift C. I'm going to click on A. Notice that it's going to be a little bit extended. Now a little tidbit, my hand, so my left hand, is always hanging out on the left hand side of the keyboard, just so I can do my shortcuts. It's either there or on my cup of coffee. One of the two things. Alright, grab that handle. Shift C. We're just dragging those out. If I see a curve. Now you can really do the guides in a couple different ways. You could either do it where I'm deliberately putting it directly over the handle, and or you could just see if it lines up with the line itself. Okay, we're going to drag. I'm still in Shift C, by the way. And then all I need to do is point in the direction that I want. Let's go right there with it. Good. This is going to get covered up when we do our brushes. Now let's just show you another little quick tool. If you have a straight line, we do have our line segment. I can just click on it. Now I'm clicking and dragging. If I hold down Shift, it's going to go straight up and down. Good. Alright, let's do some circles. So let's just zoom in. And this is going to be all messy, but it doesn't matter because it's all done with the ellipse tool anyway. Now I am on stroke still. And you're going to notice pretty quickly why we do everything with stroke. I'm just seeing if we can play devil's advocate today. Is as soon as you do fill, you're going to notice pretty fast that your anchor point guides get all messed up. Or they don't get messed up, you just can't see them anymore. So as I am drawing out my circles, things to pay attention to is if I do L, L is the shortcut. If I hold down Shift and then Control and or Alt. Let's do a big one. I get nice big perfect circles. And if I want to just move it around, I'm just using my arrow key. I want it to actually come up through the top. You might be able to see that handle. So what I'm looking for is that line to go right on through. Okay. And I might change these sizes up a tiny bit, but I think that looks pretty good for right now. So let's do the next little step. So I'm going to click on black arrow. Just click on it. And we're going to come over, and you can either just do toggle, and or you can do Shift X. Shift X is just this little toggle. Let's grab our highlights. Let's grab another highlight. I'm going to go Shift X. Again, that was our toggle. So now we have a fill. And now we can add in our little highlights. I'm going to leave those alone for right now. What I'm going to do now is do a C. C is our scissor. So notice that we didn't want this full circle. And so what we're going to be able to do is come in and just cut that little shape. Here's the other one over here. Now you might not be able to see it. Let's zoom in just so you can see how subtle my anchor point or my smart guides are today. If I hover over it, it'll say path. So one of the things whenever you're doing the scissor tool is just pay attention to, does it say path? You might need to zoom in, and then it'll give you another little point. So what it's actually doing is snipping your stroke. So it's going to give you 2. Let's just go Control 0 so you can see what's up. And then you'll notice that just the top is selected. So if you're way zoomed out and you're trying to do C, especially as things get really, really busy, it's not going to know what line you're trying to cut. So just zoom in. I'm on black arrow. Just select the top, and then I'm going to click on the delete. And then I'll have a little, basically brow, and then it'll be little bags under the eye there. Now since we're dealing in the computer, I'm on the black arrow, by the way. I'm just selecting. I'm on black arrow. I'm hold down Shift, and I want to get rid of the little bag. So I want all of those circles together. Hold down Alt. Now Alt, you're going to notice that there's that extra little white. That is our copy. So I just drag that over, and now I have another eyeball. Let's just move that in place first. I'm just eyeballing this. Oh, you see what I did there? You saw what I did. This is where all the kids moan. Boo! Bad jokes. So we're going to hold down Shift. I'm on the black arrow V. And we just might move this up. Again, I might be modifying that in a tiny bit, but I think for right now, I think we're pretty good. All right, let's do these little creases. I still have my handles turned on. Oh, we're getting fast there. So, bing, bing, bing. All right. So some of you might be saying, I can't see it. So this is just a good little lesson. So I'm just selecting. So notice what happened. It is still hanging out over here. So I just go Shift X. That was my toggle. So I'm back on stroke. And then I can color that black. Shift C. Just go nice and slow. This one's pretty subtle. Actually, let's go Shift C. I think that's a different little handle. All right, good. Let's turn off our handles. And we're going to do our little mouth here. And some of you might already be able to tell, we are almost done. Hard part is almost over. I am going to say that one's going to come through. I'm going to click right there and then right in the corner. Select P. 1, 2, and 3. Click P again. I think that's going to be one big one. I don't see any points. Oh, let's just do this. Let's do this fin. And then just so you can all be thinking out loud a little bit today, is I will probably move this right fin down. This is the left one. I'm going to move the other one down a little bit. Alright, let's turn on the handles. Now let's just zoom in. Let's start at this top one. No, I can't see it. I'm assuming it's in this little cluster, but I just went right on back to where my line was. So I'm going to select that line, Shift C, and that was just so I can see where this anchor was. I'm going to drag that guy out right here. Let's just use our hand tool. Let's do this big long one. Just line that up. Good. So there's our smile. I'm on the A. So notice as I'm dragging, I'm going to want to use the hand, which is spacebar, and I'm just lining it up right there. I'm on A. Whenever I want to just move one handle, I'm on A. I wait for it to come down, and then I can move it. Control 0. Oh, we are almost done. I can feel it. Again, I'm still on Shift C. Just drag that out. There might not be one on this one. If I just wanted to reset, just click on Shift C again, by the way. Line that up right there. Drag that guy out. I am on A. Click back to Shift C. Just seeing if we get anything. That is A. Notice I'm on white arrow, A. Basically, we're going to do one and then just copy it over. Okay. Now with our brushes, more than likely this is going to get filled in, so we should be okay. So I'm just going to grab it. I'm going to be holding down Alt. Good. Alright, let's have some fun. So I've got white arrow. I want to be on that handle. So notice I clicked it and then clicked it again. And I'm just lining these things up. So this one should be a little bit closer as we move forward. So black arrow V, just select it. I'm going to hold down Alt. I'm looking at the top, by the way. I'm going to hold down A. White arrow A. Drop that down. And then I'm just dragging. Good. Black arrow. Select it. Hold down Alt. Just drag that on over. White arrow A. Just line that up. I'm still on the white arrow, by the way. Good. Click on V, black arrow. Select our line. Let's go C. C is our scissor tool, by the way. So scissor tool is right here. Now I snipped and I click on V. Notice that that other little segment is still selected. Delete, delete. White arrow A. I'm just dragging that on top. Black arrow V. Select your line. You might be able to hear it. There's this little deselecting, which is, there's a handful of little things that I would always recommend to beginners, and deselecting is one of those little keys. And deselecting just simply means as you're drawing, just click off of it. So if you have a white arrow and or a black arrow, clicking anywhere where there's not something, a lot of times things will still be selected and you don't know about it. And so it wants to do things or group things, so there's a little bit of frustration when it comes to that, and that deselecting is the little trick. There's one hiding right under that line. I'm going to go Shift C, and then just going to point that right on back. Let's go Control 0. I think we did it. I think we crushed it. Did I miss one? I missed one. Okay. Shame, shame. Again, I selected it, black arrow, white arrow. Let's just place that right there. Let's just zoom in so our eyeballs don't fall out. Good. Control 0. File save. Done and done. Okay, now whenever you're saving, that was all just default. So file save, just double check where you were saving it. If this is the first time with Illustrator, just double check on where it is saving. So we are going to end this tutorial. What we are looking to do is we will be going on to adding in our brushes on the next one. So you can get rid of your handles, you can get rid of your anchor point guide. From here on out, everything gets way, way easier. So that was pretty much the hard part. So little takeaways today is really focus on your hand placement on your keyboard. Focus on your black arrow. That is your V key. White arrow is your A. And then notice that we are using the zoom quite a bit as well as the hand key. The hand key is your space bar, and that is going to be your best friend. So that is going to where it's going to move things if I'm on the pen tool or if I'm doing anything. The little space bar is going to be something that you're going to be using quite frequently. That's where we're going to end it. Save, save, save. On the next tutorial, we are going to be adding in our cartoon brushes. So if you want to do a little step ahead, we are going to be using our cartoon brushes tinted, so you're going to want to download those. In the next tutorial, I will show you how to install those. So thanks for hanging out. If you guys like it, definitely give me a little thumbs up. Definitely make sure if you have questions going through it, definitely put those in the comments. If you want to see something more specific or have another little tip and trick video, definitely put those in the comments. I read those every day. And then as always, thank you for staying positive since my students do read those. Thanks for hanging out, and I will see you guys on the adding cartoon brushes tutorial.